Do you want to learn how to use Google Sheets, but you're so confused by all the information that's out there? Well, I've got you covered. My name is Susie, and I am the head geek in charge at Teaching Tech Academy. And in today's lessons, you're going to learn how to do Google Sheets in just under 20 minutes. So if you're ready, let's dive in. All right, in order to get started with Google Sheets, we are going to Google Sheets. So I'm just going to type in Google Sheets. And we want this first one that comes up, okay? And the address for that is workspace.google.com/products/sheets. Now, if you already have a Google account, you're going to be prompted to sign in. Now, I already have one. If you don't have a Google account, you're going to be prompted to create an account, and it's completely free. So once you create an account and you get all that done, you're going to click on Sign In. And then what you want to do is this big plus button down here, and that's going to create a new sheet. So let's click this big plus button. And that starts us with a brand new empty Google Sheet. So what you can do is you can go up here and double click on this, and you can change the title of this. I'm just going to say Test Sheet. All right. Now, here is your Google Sheet. Now, it looks kind of intimidating. You've got all kinds of stuff up here and your toolbar and all this blank stuff. Now, if you've worked in any other kind of spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel, this may be familiar to you. But if you haven't, here is a spreadsheet. And basically what a spreadsheet is, it's made up of a series of columns which run up and down and a series of rows which run across left and right. And each cell you can type in some information, okay? And you can also enter formulas. You can add pictures. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. And every cell has an address. So for instance, if I'm clicking on column D, row 2, right here, it'll show me the address for that cell is D2. And if I want to hit a random one down here, I'm now at B11, column B, row 11. Now that we've become familiar with what a spreadsheet looks like, let's start entering some data. All right, I'm going to pretend I am making a grocery list. And I'm going to list all my food items in one column, and then I'm going to list what section of the supermarket they're located in, because I like to be efficient when I'm shopping. Let's start by making some headers. In column A, in row 1, I'm going to write, let's see, food item. And in column B, I'm going to type in section. Great. Now, my first food item is, let's see, I need some chicken breasts. And that is in the poultry section of the supermarket. I also need some broccoli. That would be located in the produce section. And let's see, okay, butter. And that will be in the dairy section. Great. Now, this is fine, but it's not a very good-looking spreadsheet. and I like my spreadsheets to be a little bit snazzy. So what I'm going to start to do is I want to create, since this is my header, I want this to look different than the actual listed items. Now, I'm going to highlight the first one, and I want to change the background color. So all I have to do is go up to this little like paint bucket, and that says fill color. And I'm going to make it a blue background. And then the same thing with the section header. I'm going to click on the section header, go over to the paint bucket, and select the blue. Okay, now this is fine, but the darker blue against the black text kind of like doesn't look so great. So what I want to do is I want to change the text color. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to go over here where it says A with a black underline and it says text color. Click on that and I'm going to make that text white. And I'm also going to make it bold. Okay, so I just click in this B. And I'm going to go over to this section, double click that, make that white, and make it bold. Now, the text in both of these are centered, which is good because I was using this before. But if I wanted to left align it, all I have to do is click on that, go over here where you have your alignment tool, and I could left align it. Same thing with a section. I can go over there and left align it. I like my headers to have their titles aligned in the center. So what I'm going to just do is select them both. I'm just going to click and drag. You can't really see this, but you see I have both of these selected, all of row A, or at least these two items in row A. And then I'm just going to go over to the alignment tab and click center align. Now suppose my columns were really tight like this. Let's just say like they were like this, okay? And look, this is like, there's not enough breathing room. I need more white space in my spreadsheets because it's easier just to read the data. So if you needed to change the width of your column, just go up here and hover till you get that double arrow signal, and you just drag it to one side or the other. And that's it. And the same thing with the rows. If I wanted to make them a little bit deeper or wider, taller, I should say, that's exactly what I would do. Just go in between the two rows until I get the double arrow and just adjust it as needed. Now that we know how to enter some data, let's start creating a very simple budget. Now, Google Sheets is great for budgeting. I use a Google Sheet budget system every day for all of my finances, and it is just remarkable how helpful it is. All right, so let's start creating a very simple budget. And at the top, we're going to say, let's see, what is this called? Let's call it an expense. And let's say this is the amount that we need to pay. And the first item, it's going to be our rent. Maybe that's $1,200. I need to buy groceries, and that is $300. And let's see, I need to pay for my internet, and that's $50. Okay, now, do you see how it says this number 1,200, 300, 500? Right now, Google Sheets thinks this is just a regular number, but we want this to be in currency, in dollars. All I have to do is highlight them all, go up to this dollar sign, and format as currency. Boom, there you go. Now, if I don't need all these two decimal places to the right, let's just say I'm just rounding up, I can just go over here and it says decrease a decimal space, and I just go like that, okay? But obviously you don't always have even numbers in your budget, but for now, let's just keep it like this. Okay, great. So this is our little simple budget that we're creating. And some of the formulas we want to do is like, okay, well, maybe we want to find out how much we're spending on all these. Well, there's a very simple formula for that, and that is called the sum formula. Now, I want to put the sum of it right here, and all I have to do is hit the equal sign, and Google Sheets is smart enough because it kind of knows what I'm doing. It says, oh, it looks like you want to sum a few things, and I'm just going to hit tab, and look, it already added up all of this amount, and that's equal to this. Now, let's suppose I needed this sum to be in another cell. Maybe I have like something over here where it's like, okay, total expenses, and I want the total to be here. All I have to do is hit equal, then sum. Now, yes, I do want that, but let's pretend we don't know what we want. Well, since it's the only sums on the page, I guess Google Sheets is saying to me, this is the only numbers we can sum. So, okay, we'll just do that. But I want to show you how it's actually written. And if you go up here in the formula bar, you can see it is equal to sum. And in parentheses, you want the sum from B2 all the way down and including B4. Okay? And that's where you get this 1550 again. Great. Now, let's try multiplying. Let's find out how much rent we are spending in a year. Let's just say we'll call this months. I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be 12 months in a year. And now I want to know how much rent am I spending? All I have to do is hit equal. And again, Google is really helpful because it wants to show you. It says, oh, looks like you're trying to do this. So if we want to make it simple on this and say, yes, it is B2 multiplied by C2, then just hit the tab button. But sometimes if you have so much data in your spreadsheet, Google is not going to be that helpful for you. But right now, it's like they know what we're trying to do. So I'm going to hit the tab. Boom, and that's how much rent I am spending in a year. So I could just call this total. All right? And let's see. Let's try division. Okay, if I'm spending $300 a month on groceries, I want to find out how much should I budget per week? Maybe I need to do a weekly budget. Maybe that my paychecks come weekly. Simply click on this cell, B3, and then this slash for divide, and I want the number of weeks. Now, not every month has exactly 4 weeks in it, but for this sake, let's just hit 4 and hit enter. And right now, ignore this auto-suggest. Right now, it says to me, oh, I have $75 a week to spend on groceries. Okay, so that's multiplication and division and sum, or adding. Now, suppose we have a bunch of other items in here. Let's say 125, 35. I'm just randomly doing things right here, okay? And I want these all to be dollar signs. I select the entire row, so anything I put down below it will say dollar. Boom, okay. Now, suppose I want to find out what the average of this column of numbers is, okay? All I need to do is hit equal, then average, and it'll give me the help. So I'm just going to hit tab because, yes, I do want to average those 7 items or however many items. And this is the answer. Now what I can do is just kind of change this to a green so it's more helpful. And let's just for kicks. Like I said, even though this is just for a quick lesson, I like things to be nice and neat. Center line. So this is our average. And up here you see the simple formula, which is just equal average. And we took the Google help and we said, yes, we want the average of B2 all the way down to B7. Okay? And that's it. Those are some basic, easy formulas that are built in to Google Sheets. And let me tell you, they are so helpful and I use them all the time. Now, so far, we've only worked with just a little bit of data, okay? And Google has given us some easy help and things like that. But what if we have a lot of data? So I created this dummy set of names, first name, last name, job, title, and company. Okay, this is all just dummy stuff. Now, if I were to enter, and I need to start entering something down here, maybe it's Bob. Oh gosh, I don't know whether this is the first name. Maybe this was the last name. Maybe it's Stevens. I don't know. It gets all confusing. It would be really helpful if I knew what I was supposed to be entering in each of these cells. Well, that's when you want to start freezing a row. And it's really easy to do that. You're going to go up to View and go to Freeze and freeze up to row 1. Okay, now you see this? It's got this little gray bar under it. Now that row stays static and I can easily now say, oh, okay, the first names was here. Okay, that was Bob Stevens and his title was CEO at IBM. So it can be really helpful to be able to freeze a row, and you can also freeze columns. It's basically the same way. So suppose you have a bunch of things down here and you're entering them. It works exactly the same way. Usually the way spreadsheets are set up, you're going to be highlighting the headers that are up here. And that's easy to do. Now that you have all your data in this fabulous spreadsheet, you might want to share it with a colleague or a client or perhaps your boss. Well, there's a very easy way to share your spreadsheets. You simply go up to this blue button and click Share. Now, all you need to do is type in the person's email. And for general access, we're going to say anyone with a link. Sometimes it might default to restricted, but we want people to be able to open it. So we're going to say anyone with a link. And now I want to decide what kind of permission I want to give them. Do I want them just to only be able to view the data? Do I want them to be able to comment on my spreadsheet? Or do I want them to be able to make changes and edit the spreadsheet? Okay, so depending on your needs, you're going to set the permission here and simply copy the link. And again, there's two ways to do that. You can copy the link and send it in a private email or another document, or you can enter their email address up here, and that will also send them an invitation to collaborate on your spreadsheet. It is that easy. And then you just click done. And then you're able to share your spreadsheet. Another great thing about Google Sheets is the ability to enter charts that can help you better visualize your data. So let's go back to our budget example, and I just kind of added a few more things. And the first thing I want to do is I want to highlight the data that I want to use in a chart. And after I do that, I go up to Insert, and I want to do Chart, and boom, look at that. Google already defaulted to a nice little pie chart, and it has a real good visual breakdown of where my money's going. Okay, so 61, almost 62% of my income is going to rent. Yikes. Now, here is where you can customize it. But before we do that, I just want to show you something. Where it says date range, again, this is just a very small spreadsheet, but sometimes you're going to have a lot of different data sections in this one sheet. So you want to be able to tell Google what specific range of data you want. And here we have from A2, which is right here, down to B7, which is this very last one in B. All right, now suppose we want to customize this. You could go down to chart styles, and this is just kind of like a theme, the background color, the border color if you don't want to have a border, and the pie chart. Now the donut hole, there is no donut hole here, but maybe I want to add a little donut hole. So I'll say 25%. Okay, I like that. Now let's try changing up our pie slices. For rent, we have the blue, but maybe I don't want the blue. Maybe I have a whole theme to my spreadsheet. Maybe I'm going to pick pink for rent. Let's change some of the other ones. Groceries. I don't like this red color. Maybe I will use this turquoise color. You get the idea. Internet, maybe I want to have it. I'm going to pick a custom color. I don't know. Something like that. Maybe purple. Okay. There you go. And you get the idea. Just select what you want to edit and simply change that color. Okay? And that is how easily you can enter a sheet. Now, before I go, I want to talk about this title. I don't like this title up here that says amount. So what I'm going to do is click on the chart, go to these three dots, click on Edit Chart, go to Customize. I believe it's down Chart and Axis Titles, yes. So my chart title is just defaulted to amount. I just picked up this text in this cell. Maybe I want to say where my money is going. All right, and it comes up here. Or if you don't want a title, just simply leave it blank. And there you go. And that's it. And that is just one easy way to create an awesome visualization of the data in your spreadsheets. And that's it for today's lesson. Congratulations. You just learned a little bit about what you can do in Google Sheets. We learned what a column is, what a rows are, what the cells do, what the cell addresses are. We learned simple formulas like addition, multiplication, average, and more. We talked about formatting and changing colors of things. Then we discussed how to freeze a row to make some of our larger data sets a little bit more easy to complete. Then we talked about how to share your data sheets with a colleague or a boss by either entering their email or copying the link and sending to them in, I don't know, maybe a text or a document or something of that fashion. We talked about setting permissions. Is the person going to be able to only view it? Will they be able to add comments, or will they be able to actually edit your spreadsheet? Finally, we talked about how you can make your data a little bit more visually appealing. So you can just take a glance and see how you're doing. In case you're talking about your budget or maybe sales projections, you can easily see how you're doing by using some charts. So Google Sheets isn't that scary, is it? If you liked this video and you got some value, please consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when my next video is up. And comment below if you'd like to see other Google Sheet tutorials. I'm more than happy to create them. Until next time, happy spreadsheeting.